God allowed Paul to see past the doors. For a moment, we're going to take these two doors as the doors of eternity. Now, there's just a little bit of glass in each one of them, but there's not a lot we can see out those doors. And the Bible gives us just a little bit to see outside the door, but we don't get the full sense of it. But God put Paul on the other side, and Paul did. And I'm suggesting to you that when he's standing in Lystra and he is proclaiming the gospel, and they start to take stones and hurl those stones at him, and when they began to hit his body and knock him on the ground, and as they kept beating him one after another so that they thought he was dead, you say, what is motivating Paul in that moment? It's because God let him see on the other side of that door. He understood the kingdom, and he realized that eternity is too long and important to stay today and not be engaged in the gospel work. So that the verse says, and the next day he went and started working. Oh, friends, we've got to do it today, and we have to do it the next day. And when you get discouraged, and when you're the one that life's problems has come down on you and you feel like you're ready to give up, it's in that moment you have to realize, no, because beyond the doors is eternity. And in order to get to eternity, tribulations will come, and they're part of God's plans. And as part of God's plan, I can persevere by grace, because God's grace is sufficient in my weakness. He is my strength. So I can do it because Christ enables me to do it. And I'm not doing it in my own strength, but in the strength of the Spirit. And so the next day we go on. And someday, possibly when we get to heaven, we're going to see that coworker. We're going to see that person who was in school with us. We'll see the neighbor. We'll see the person who rode with us in a cab. We'll see some person and realize, in God's grace, He allowed us. He allowed our testimony. He allowed our words. He allowed us to be the instrument that He used to help somebody else get to heaven. And we will rejoice in eternity, because we realize that eternity is better and bigger, and it's great than the tribulations we go in right now. So that, like Paul, we don't rejoice in the fact that we are suffering. We don't rejoice in the fact that there are problems. But we can say, like Paul, that in reproaches, in infirmities, in needs, in persecutions, in distresses, for Christ's sake, I can take pleasure. For when I am weak, Christ is strong. May that be our prayer. May that be our testimony.